Okay, Thi, go ahead, Thi.
Namo fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, deep, profound, septuple Dharma in 100,000 million eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I've come to receive and hold it within my sitting hearing, I've found a fathom of this confirmation and actual meaning.
Yeah. All right. So last time we learned about, we just started, right, to learn about okay, let's do the meditation together for 1 minute before we, okay, keep our back straight, our neck straight, close our eye, inhale and exhale to the nose. You count 1, inhale and exhale to the nose, you count 2 and keep going. If you see your monkey mind, just go back to your inhale and exhale. And if you count up to 10, go back to 1. If you lose track of your counting, start from 1. Good, good. William, how many go?
10.
Home, how many?
10.
No, home. Home.
Yes, I
How many?
repeat that.
How many you do meditation?
I didn't count. I was just meditating. Things like 50 or something. I don't really remember.
Hey, how many go?
20.
Catherine, how many?
Yeah. I got 24.
Okay, Patrick, how many?
22.
Okay, last time we learned about we start learning about the sevenfold cause and effect. Instruction develop the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, that means the motivation of the love and kindness and compassion to develop the mind of benefit to all the living beings. And this is all the 7 steps. Recognize, the first one is recognize that all living beings are our mother. Remembering, the number 2 is remembering the kindness of all mother beings. Number 3 is developing the wish to repay the kindness of all mother beings. And number 4 is to develop affectionate love. Number 5 is developing great compassion. Number 6 is developing superior intention. Number 7 is developing the bodhicitta. And in this order, that means the first one is the cause, and the second one is the effect of the first one. The second one is the cause, and the third one is the effect of the second one. The fourth one is and keep going like that. So this is how we how do we everyone turn on your webcam, Gong. Thank you. All right. So we learn how to deal with the confrontational suffering. So basically, when we deal with the confrontational suffering, we always react, and that's where we damage a lot of relationship. We also hurt ourselves and hurt other people, and that's where we pray karma, and this will make us suffering in the future. For the not only future, that means within this lifetime, as well as in the future birthright. That is also you see in this world right now. Who can help me to understand the confrontational suffering? What did that look like? Justin, what do you understand about the confrontational suffering?
I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna take a guess. Confrontational suffering is whenever you put yourself into a conflict and then you suffer from it, or
Yeah, you confront with other, right?
Yeah, when you confront with others.
So how do you see the confrontational? It's a start from maybe the smart one is between sibling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or between husband and wife, between parent and children, and between friends.
Yes.
Now we go a little bit up. Within the company, we also have confrontational suffering as well with the co-worker. What about at the village where we argue, right? We could pray the confrontational suffering within the village. What about a country?
It's harvesting their
When countries decide to like interfere with other countries.
So when the two leader of the country or the country itself, they conflict and they confront with each other, what what's going on? What could be happening?
They start war.
Yeah, just like Ukraine and Russia, and maybe right now we hear about to go war with China, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what happened when we confront, and who will be suffer the most?
The people.
Yeah, the people. Why do we have the confrontational suffering? When what were the costs that bring us to confront with other? What were the main costs? Do you know? When?
Lives and like resources. Some lose their lives.
Okay.
And suffering.
We lived in a world where differences were.
You remember, T, you remember the root cause of suffering? The true root cause of suffering?
Like your like hatred and
What were the true cause of suffering? That is the second law of the Four Noble Law, the Four Noble Truth.
the true cause of suffering.
Yeah, what were the causes that bring to that we have all kind of suffering? They come from the cause. You know what are they?
Like it's our like ignorance,
Ignorant and what else?
hatred,
Craving, right? Craving and ignorant. Do you see that in this world right now, all the suffering we see, it always comes from one of the two. Right, Justin?
Yes.
So when you see that the war going on right now comes from the craving.
Mm-hmm.
Putin, he want to invade other country.
Yeah, he wants to gain land for Russia, even though they already have so much.
Yeah, because that the craving leads to suffering, leads to confrontation, and also ignorant. Ignorant, that means lacking of understanding the truth. Usually ignorant also mean the self, the I, the ego. Right? Because my ego is bigger than your ego. That's why when the two ego, they confront with each other, war will going on, right? The war between the two, the war between the country. This is very suffering. Okay, today I will show you the video that when we have in the summer, right? In last summer, I teach the class for they are the one who pray the presentation, and they do the presentation on the Buddhist topic that they select, right? Okay. And this is the comet affinity by Sophia. Actually, more all of the presentation is good, but I just today I will show you this so you can.
Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha.
Yeah, let me skip all this thing here.
Wonderful. You did really cheap.
Will naturally take a liking to them in this life. See them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sylvia, you want to try yours?
Okay.
Okay, well, let me give you the co-host here. Wow, wonderful. You did really cheap. Good job.
My name is Sophia Lynn. I am 13 and 8th grade, and I have a presentation about karmic affinities. Okay.
Please pay attention to the video. I will ask you
First
for
off
the summary.
Positive karmic affinity. When we share our positive karmic affinities with people from a past life, we'll naturally take a liking to them in this life. Everything they'll say will sound right and sensible, and we'll readily agree. Even when their views are actually distorted or wrong, we'll place our faith in them and believe them to be in the right. So even when they lead us astray, we'll follow along, believing they're good people doing the right thing. Okay. Here is an example of a positive karmic affinity. There was once a starving child who was suffering greatly due to the lack of food he had. His parents were gone, and it was just him alone on the side of the road. One day, a kind-hearted child came along and offered his own lunch to the starving child. The starving child was touched by the act of the kind child. After the meal was offered, the two chatted up a conversation and became great friends. Both of them never forgot that day until their deaths. In their next lives, the two became siblings who always got along and never fought. They always treated each other nicely and were inseparable buddies. Here is negative karmic affinity. Even though someone may be a nice and good person, somehow when we see them, a feeling of strong dislike arises, unbidden. Just seeing them causes a change in our mood, but we don't know why we're reacting this way. As if beyond our control, our attitude turns negative, our tone sharp, our words unkind. Why? This reason lies in our having formed negative relations with this person in a past life. In Buddhism, we call these negative karmic affinities. Here is an example. There once was a cat and dog who lived in the same house but unequivocally hated each other. The cat would always destroy the dog's toys by scratching them, and the dog was a nuisance to the cat. It would always slobber all over the cat's bed on purpose. Aside from ruining each other's belongings, they would compete for their owner's affection. The two were fiery enemies who hated each other until their deaths. In their next lives, they became humans. They were salesmen who had competition because they sold similar items. To the end of their days, they fought over sales. So you can see positive karmic affinities are about forming good relations with people in past lives and therefore causing you to
have good relations with them in this life. And negative karmic affinities are the opposite. Here is a story about Ananda and a lady. In the Buddha's time, there was a poor old lady who always avoided the Buddha and his monastic disciples whenever she saw them approaching. And she had never made any offerings to them. In order to give her an opportunity to give and sow blessings, the Buddha sent Ananda to guide and enlighten her. Feeling confused and puzzled, Ananda asked the Buddha has 32 dignified physical marks. How could there be any living being whom the Buddha is unable to guide and transform? The Buddha replied, the old lady has a karmic affinity with you, and she needs you to guide and help her. Ananda then walked towards the old lady with skepticism in his mind. Unexpectedly, the elderly woman knelt down before Ananda the moment she saw him, and then followed him to see the Buddha. After that, she joyfully made offerings to the monastic community with a sincere heart. The monks were curious about the sudden change in the old lady's attitude, so the Buddha related to them a story from one of his previous lives. Two monastic spiritual practitioners met a woman who was crying when they were walking along the road. The monks who were walking in front towards the woman walked towards the woman and asked her why she was crying. The woman said that she was deeply saddened by the sudden death of her child shortly after her husband passed away. The monk then preached about the natural cycle of birth, aging, illness, and death to the woman and told her that nothing could be done to bring her child and husband to life, no matter how much she cried. After saying that, the monk heaved a sigh before leaving her and continued his journey. The monk who was walking behind gave the woman a handkerchief to wipe her tears and comforted her with gentle words and an empathetic heart. He told her that life was full of suffering and that she had to open up her heart and learn to let go. The woman who was suffering the pain of losing her loved ones felt comforted by the words of the second monk and stopped crying. The Buddha told Ananda that the two monks were Ananda and him in one of their past lives, and that woman had reincarnated as the old lady in this life. The Buddha did not form a positive affinity with the woman in that lifetime, so it was difficult for him to enlighten her. Only Ananda was able to do that. The karmic consequences we experienced in this life were due to the karmic causes we had created in the past. It is not easy to be born as a human. Hence, it would be a pity if we are unable to help ourselves and form positive affinities with people. We must be aware that the karmic law of cause and effect and form ongoing good affinities with others. If we are able to plant these good seeds in everybody's heart in this life, people will have a good impression of us when we meet them in our next lives. Such good affinities will also enable us to help and guide one another. Okay. Next is loving kindness. In Buddhism, loving kindness, in Pali Metta and Sanskrit Maitre, is thought of as a mental state or attitude, cultivated and maintained by practice. This cultivation of loving kindness is an essential part of Buddhism. The practice of loving kindness, which is part of the Buddhist practice of metta, is the antidote to selfishness, anger, and fear. The Pali word metta is a multi-significant term meaning loving kindness, friendliness, benevolence, fellowship, amity, conquer, inoffensiveness, and nonviolence. The Pali commentators define metta as the strong wish for the welfare and happiness of others. Okay, here is an example of loving kindness. While going through a divorce, my mother fretted over her new worries. No income, the same bills, and no way to afford groceries. It was around this time that she started finding boxes of food outside her door every morning. This went on for months until she was able to land a job. We never did find out who left the groceries, but they truly saved our lives. This was a story from Jamie Bolin from Emmett, Ohio. Passion. Metta, which is also loving kindness, is often paired with karuna, compassion. They are not exactly the same, although the difference is subtle. The classic explanation is that metta is a wish for all beings to be happy, and karuna, which is compassion, is a wish for all beings to be free from suffering. A more accurate explanation would be that compassion is directing one's attention or concern to the happiness or sufferings of others. Here is an example of compassion. A teacher friend of mine was teaching math to a class of 6-year-olds, a number of whom were recently arrived refugees from other countries. The topic was fraction. My friend defined what a half and quarter were, and then asked the children to write down whether they would prefer half or a quarter of a chocolate bar. As she walked around the room, she noticed that some of the new students wrote that they would prefer a quarter of the chocolate bar. Her friend thought she would have to reteach her lesson, as they didn't appear to understand that a half was bigger than a quarter. She asked the students why they would prefer a quarter of the chocolate, and one little girl replied, so that more people could have a piece of chocolate. I cried when I heard that story. It reminded me of how beautiful humanity is if we take a moment and notice it. This was a story from this person, and my thoughts on it is that even children can have such deep compassion. Okay, so now we have the quiz. Number 1, if two people on this life hate each other due to past karma, what do they share? A, a positive karmic affinity, B, compassion, C, a negative karmic affinity, and D is loving kindness.
Okay, you guys can also share your answer on the chat. Yeah. Say your answer on the chat. Type your answer on the chat so we can see you. Okay, anyone? Catherine, Patrick, Justin? Justin, where are you? Okay. Say your answer on the chat. Okay. Number 1. If two people in this life hate each other due to the past karma, what do they say? Okay. Let's say, what do they say?
You could tell your answer to the chat.
Yes, the correct answer is a negative karmic affinity. Number 2, when you devote your concern to the suffering of others, what is that called?
Okay, you can also say your answer on the second one. When you devote your concern to suffering of others, what is that called? Oh yeah, this is a good one. Anyone? Any more? Only 2 people respond. Okay, good. Let's see. All right, good.
A, loving kindness, B, Buddhist qualities, C, the Four Noble Truths, and D, compassion. Yes, the correct answer is D. Okay.
Yeah,
When you wish
D.
for happiness and welfare for others, what is
Okay, D is compassion.
that called? A, karuna, B, loving kindness, C, nirvana, D, empathy.
Okay. When you wish for happiness and welfare for others, what is called? This should be easy for you guys. Okay, you can say your answer. For number 3. I see no response. Okay, only 1 response. What? Okay, 2, 3, 2, 4. That's good.
Yes, it is B.
Yeah, love and kindness. That's correct. Okay, that's good. Wow, you guys did good.
If two people in this life really like each other due to past karma, what do they share?
Yeah, when the 2 people need like each other, what do they call? Yeah, 2 people respond. Any more? No? Only two?
Yeah, the correct answer is A.
Positive.
Next, the last slide. With whom did the lady have a positive karmic affinity with? Correct answer is C. Why did the lady not like the Buddha? Okay, the correct answer is B. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Wow, your presentation is really good. My goodness, you did a really good job. Great. So anyone have questions for her? This is a very good topic too. It's an excellent topic.
Okay. So okay, this is very good one, right? So when we learn about comet affinity, it means that this is related to the confrontational suffering. That's why when we confront with other people, we react. That is the time we pray negative comet affinity. But when we don't react, but we act, eventually you will pray the positive comet affinity. This is important. So right now in this world, right? Due to we have the negative comet affinity in the past, therefore now when we confront with each other, it will leading to the war, right? This is bad. So so we have to be very careful. Okay. So be careful. All right. Let me show you this. So
Anyone?
before, okay, I want to show you one very good video that from you know who is it person? President Obama. He have a very good speech. Okay.
When I missed having a father in my life. There were times when I was lonely and I felt like I didn't fit in. Struggled at times to pay the bills and wasn't always able to give us the things that other kids had. There were times when I missed having a father in my life. There were times when I was lonely and I felt like I didn't fit in. So I wasn't always as focused as I should have been on school. And I did some things that I'm not proud of. And I got in more trouble than I should have. And my life could have easily taken a turn for the worse. But I was lucky. I got a lot of second chances, and I had the opportunity to go to college and law school and follow my dreams. I chose to run for president at this moment in history because I believe deeply that we cannot solve the challenges of our time unless we solve them together. We may have different stories, but we hold common hopes. We may not look the same and may not have come from the same place, but we all want to move in the same direction towards a better future for our children and our grandchildren. And this belief comes from my unyielding faith in the decency and generosity, but it also comes from my own story. I'm the son of a Black man from Kenya and a white woman from Kansas. I was raised with the help of a white grandfather who survived the Depression to serve in Patton's army during World War II, and a white grandmother who worked on a bomber assembly line at Fort Leavenworth while he was overseas. I've gone to some of the best schools in America, and I've lived in one of the world's poorest nations. I am married to a Black American who carries within her the blood of slaves and slave owners. I have brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, uncles, and cousins of every race and every hue scattered across 3 continents. And for as long as I live, I will never forget that in no other country on earth is my story even possible. Each time we gather to inaugurate a president, we bear witness to the enduring strength of our Constitution. We recall that what binds this nation together is not the colors of our skin or the tenets of our faith or the origins of our names. What makes us exceptional is our allegiance to an idea articulated in a declaration made more than 2 centuries ago. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. It's not to say that race has not been an issue in this campaign. At various stages in the campaign, some commentators have deemed me either too black or not black enough. We saw racial tensions bubble to the surface against all predictions to the contrary. Today, we continue a never-ending journey to bridge the meaning of those words with the realities of our time. For history tells us that while these truths may be self-evident, they've never been self-executing. That while freedom is a gift from God, it must be secured by his people here on earth. Through blood drawn by lash and blood drawn by sword, we learned that no union founded on the principles of liberty and equality could survive half slave and half free. We made ourselves anew and vowed to move forward together. Together, we determined that a modern economy requires railroads and highways to speed travel and commerce, schools and colleges to train our workers. Together, we discovered that a free market only thrives when there are rules to ensure competition and fair play. Together, we resolved that a great nation must care for the vulnerable and protect its people from life's worst hazards and misfortune. We have always understood that when times change, so must we. That fidelity to our founding principles requires new responses to new challenges. That preserving our individual freedoms ultimately requires collective action. Now, more than ever, we must do these things together as one nation and one people. For we,
I'm going to tell you the easiest way to make money at home, and you 100% have never heard this before. So,
the people, understand that our country cannot succeed when a shrinking few do very well and a growing many barely make it. We know that thrives when every person can find independence and pride in their work. When the wages of honest labor liberate families from the brink of hardship. We are true to our creed when a little girl born into the bleakest poverty knows that she has the same chance to succeed as anybody else because she is free and she is equal, not just in the eyes of God, but also in our own. We, the people, still believe that every citizen deserves a basic measure of security and dignity. But we reject the belief that must choose between caring for the generation that built this country and investing in the generation that will build its future. We do not believe that in this country, freedom is reserved for the lucky or happiness for the few. We recognize that no matter how responsibly we live our lives, any one of us at any time may face a job loss or a sudden illness or a home swept away in a terrible storm. The commitments we make to each other through Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, these things do not sap our initiative, they strengthen us. And we must be a source of hope to the poor, the sick, the marginalized, the victims of prejudice, not out of mere charity, but because peace in our time requires the constant advance of those principles that our common creed describes: tolerance and opportunity, human dignity, and justice. We, the people, declare today that the most evident of truths, that all of us are created equal. It is now our generation's task to carry on what those pioneers began. For our journey is not complete until our wives, our mothers, and daughters can earn a living equal to their efforts. For if we are truly created equal, then surely the love we commit to one another must be equal as well. Our journey is not complete till all our children know that they are cared for and cherished and always safe from harm. That is our generation's task. To make these words, these rights, these values of life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. For now, decisions are upon us, and we cannot afford delay. We cannot mistake absolutism for principle. We must act. My oath is not so different from the pledge we all make to the flag that waves above and that fills our hearts with pride. They are the words of citizens, and they represent our greatest hope. You and I, as citizens, have the power to set this country's course. You and I, as citizens, have the obligation to shape the debates of our time, not only with the votes we cast, but with the voices we lift in defense of our most ancient values and enduring ideas. Let us, each of us, now embrace with solemn duty and awesome joy what is our lasting birthright. What gives me the most hope is the next generation. The young people whose attitudes and beliefs and openness to change have already made history. With common effort and common purpose, with passion and dedication, let us answer the call of history and carry into an uncertain future that precious light of freedom. To hear a king proclaim that our individual freedom is inextricably bound to the freedom of every soul on earth. In the end, then, what is called for is nothing more and nothing less than what all the world's great religions demand, that we do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Let us be our brother's keeper, Scripture tells us. Let us be our sister's keeper. Let us find that common stake we all have in one another, and let our politics reflect that spirit as well. Thank you, God bless you, and may He forever bless our citizens.
This is very powerful speech. Jaden, what did you learn from the speech?
What if you had a 19-page PDF that walks you through?
Jaden.
What I learned was that the goal of most major religions, including Buddhism, are just to have other people treat you the same way that you should treat others.
Mm-hmm. But in reality, is that the case?
No.
No. And you know what? The president, he was his father is the black person, right? And he said that he could be terrible, right? But he chose not to be that. But he's so lucky that his mom is the white one, but that he be able to attend the college, to be able to go to college and law school and all the way up to the president. So everything is possible when we put our mind into it. And whatever he said, the problem in the world right now is not for one person to solve it. We have to work together to solve it different and help together to make sure that everyone is equal, right? That like we are lucky in this country, right? Even the poor kid that may live in the poor family, they also be able to go to school with the same education with other kids. This is a good thing in this country. And the government is paid for the financial aid. That is a good thing. Well, I remember when I went to the college because I was a boat people, right? And I came to the country, and when I go to the university, and all the financial aid, they call the financial aid, given by the government for the full 4 years college until we complete the degree. So now we will, so once we have the chance to go to education, then therefore the future is open to us, right? We have the same, we have a chance to become, to change our future, and that is a good thing. So, so when we, it's very tough for the people that, the reason is why we have so many problems in this world right now is because the I, that means the self, the ego, and the craving. That's what the Buddha said, that in the second law of the Noble Truth, the Buddha said that the true cause of the suffering, of all suffering, they come from the ignorant. That means the I, the ego, right? That's what it also means, ignorant. And and the craving, due to our craving, due to our desire. Therefore, we cause a lot of problem to us and to others. This is terrible. So next week I will show you how to address the confrontation in Buddhism as well as in Buddhism, right? That's important. So you will learn more into it. Do you have any other question before we go on? Okay. Okay, how about this? Today we go ahead and start. Remember, whatever we do, right? This is what we call karma. That can be either positive karmic affinity or negative karmic affinity that will affect our future. Okay? Okay. So let's say that we have a hard time with our sibling or with our friend or whatever, and we see them very often. So in this case, how do we deal with it? Anyone? Try to share with me. How do you deal with it? Justin.
Yes.
Let's say that we confront with our friend or our sibling, right? We always have a hard time with our sibling.
Mm-hmm.
Then how do we deal with it? Can you run away from it?
No. You cannot you can run away from it, but not forever. You always have to deal with it, like, you know, after the confrontation or the argument. You always got to address it at any time.
But
and
how do you address that won't create negative comment affinity?
So whenever me and my siblings fight, we always, you know, spend time apart for a while, but then we always iron it out like a few days after. We talk it out and try to understand each other's point of view.
But what happens if they don't want to listen to you?
Well, then the argument just keeps, you know, being worse, and, you know, we don't talk to each other for even longer.
Okay, Serena.
Yeah.
What do you think? If you let's say that we have we have to confront with the person that we let's say either sibling or friend that who always give you a lot of trouble, but we have to deal with them very often. So how do we deal with this situation?
Someone who gives me problems.
Yeah, they always cause a problem.
If they're always causing problems, then honestly, I would stop talking to them. They're trying to provoke me for no reason. They're always trying to cause something. Why should it also have to be included with me? I can just go away from them and just ignore them.
That is one way. That is a good way to that means we don't have to engage in the fight, right? Just
Yeah.
keep silent. Silent is the best one. When the Buddha, on the last day of the Buddha, before he entered into Nirvana, that means he passed away. There were 4 questions, right? Asking, and one of the question is asking the Buddha, okay, when the Buddha passed away, after the Buddha passed away, and if we encounter the monk that who are very it's troublemaker. So how do we deal with that monk? So this is in the Sangha. In the Sangha. That means in the monk community. The Buddha said that the best way to deal with this monk is do not pay attention to him. Stay away from him. Ignore. That means all the monks should stay away from him. This is the best way. That means don't accuse him, don't do anything, don't condemn that person, just stay silent and stay away from him. That means isolate him. So what is it good for, Jaden?
It's good for controlling your anger and trying not to lose control of, like, not more like maybe emotions, but emotions isn't the right word, but what's the word? Like emotions, but like with your actions.
So when we engage with this person, that means we go into pour the gasoline into the fire. It will become stronger. So better stay away from it and isolate it. And what is the benefit from here? Quyên, what do you think?
What's the benefit of what?
Let's say that if someone causes a lot of trouble, we just keep silent, we isolate them, we ignore them. What is the good thing about that?
Then they might start ignoring the situation too and then forget about it.
Let's say that they keep going, they do the same thing, but we ignore them, we don't say anything, we don't want to engage in any fighting, nothing. We totally ignore them. So the benefit of this is they benefit from it. Patrick.
Yes.
So let's say that someone who always causes you the problem and you just ignore them, you stay away from them, you isolate them. What is the benefit you will get?
They'll stop nagging you.
Okay, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And they will realize, eventually, they will realize that the behavior they are doing right now, it's not nice, it's not correct.
Yeah.
Eventually they will acknowledge that. This is important. We don't have to accuse them or condemn them, because the more we condemn, right? Catherine.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say that the person who always causes the problem, trouble, when we try to condemn them or accuse them, is that a good thing to do?
I think if you do it in the right way and like not actually like condemn them, but try and like teach them how to be better, then that's okay.
But what happened? They always think that they are correct, they are right, you are wrong.
They probably wouldn't like that very much.
And when you say something like that, if they are that kind of person, if you say something, even though you don't condemn them directly, or you even though you use a nice word to say it, do you think they will listen to you?
Nope.
It will also increase in confrontation, right? So
Yeah.
so it's not good. So you don't have to condemn them. You don't have to accuse them. Don't do anything. Ignore them totally. This is it's not easy job to do it, but actually once you be able to do it, and they will eventually. They have no chance you don't allow them to harm you, right? Don't allow them to hurt you because you are not engaged in the fight or in the confrontation. That is important thing. One, they will be able, eventually they will acknowledge the thing they do is not correct, and they will. But should we totally ignore them? Should we totally ignore them? Hung.
Dạ thầy.
Should we totally ignore them?
I mean, if they're annoying you, then probably.
Okay. What about you, Justin? We live in the house, right? The same house. Then should we totally ignore them? Yeah.
Wait, what's going on?
Okay, let's say that the sibling caused you a lot of problems. Should we totally ignore them?
No, because we're in the same house.
5 phút mới gọi cho cô. Huh?
I said no.
So how do you?
You still have to acknowledge that they're there. You can't completely ignore them.
So well, sometimes totally ignore it. Sometimes it's good.
Yeah, it is good sometimes, but you can't do it forever. 16 years old.
But sometimes, okay, we can stop right here. Next time I will go over this more, and I will show you how to deal with the thing. All right. This is a good topic. So you learn this, and it will help you in the future. Because right now you are too young, but it will be helpful for you guys. Okay, Hung, go ahead.
May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with heart of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all whose sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of their endless night, because our hearts are one. This world of pain turns into paradise. May all become passionate and wise. May all become passionate and wise.
Okay, all right, that's good. All right, Nam mô Di Đà Phật con. Thank you. I will see you next week. Yeah.
Chào thầy.
Chào thầy, Nam mô Di Đà Phật thầy.
Bye.
Chào thầy.